Ladies and gentlemen, national anthem.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. Oh God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build our nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Thank you. Can be seated, sir. The Chairman, House of Representative Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honourable Minister Kofa, PhD. The Chairman, House of Representative Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Honourable Abiente Awaji. The Honourable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa. Honourable Minister of State, Housing and Urban Development, Abdullahi Tijani Gordo. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Marcus Ogumbi. The Managing Director and Chief Executive, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Shehu Usman Osidi. The MD and Chief Executive Officer, Federal Housing Authority, Honorable Oyetunde Ojo. Surveyor General of the Federation, Surveyor Abdulganiyu Adeyemi. Chairman of Housing Sector Reform Tax Team here present. The Managing Director, Shelter Afrique, Tio Habib Han. Representative of the regulatory and professional bodies in the housing sector. Directors of the Federal Ministry of Housing here present. Distinguished members of the Association of Property Correspondents of Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen. Honourable Minister, sirs, ladies and gentlemen, this is an occasion of Ministerial Press Briefing, marking the 1 year in office of the Honourable Ministers of Housing and Urban Development. You could recall the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu created the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development last year on assumption into office and appointed Ahmed Musa Dangiwa and Abdullahi Tijani Gordo respectively as Minister and Minister of State to lead the ministry. Today, August 22nd, 2024, mark exactly the 1 year in office of the Honourable Ministers. So we are here this morning, ladies and gentlemen, in order to intimate Nigerians on the activities and achievement of the ministry under the leadership of Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa and Abdullahi Tijani Gordo. This is part of our resolve to be accountable to Nigerian people. Without taking much of the time, ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the Permanent Secretary of Federal Ministry of Housing, Dr. Marcus Agumbi, to present the welcome address. Permanent Secretary, sir.
the Chairman, House Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honourable Minister, PhD, Chairman, the House Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Distinguished Honourable Abiante Awaji, the Honourable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, the Honourable Minister of State, Housing and Urban Development, Abdullahi Tijani Gwazo, Directors of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, the Managing Director, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Shehu Usman Osidi, the MD of Federal Housing Authority, ably represented here today, the Surveyor General of the Federation, the Chairman of the Housing Sector Reform Tax Teams, the Managing Director, Shelter Africa Development Bank, TABIB, members of staff of her ministry, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and pride that I stand before you today and welcome you all to this very epoch-making event, being the celebration of a remarkable milestone, the first anniversary of the assumption of duty of Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa and Abdullahi Tijani Gwazo as Honourable Minister and Honourable Minister of State for Housing and Urban Development, respectively. Today's briefing is a significant occasion for us at the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development because it provides an opportunity to share the achievements, progress, and impact of these two ministers' first year in office. Also to reflect on the initiatives, policies, and projects of this ministry, and to celebrate the strides the ministry has made in the past year and outline our future aspirations and plans for the housing sector for the benefit of Nigerians and in line with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 365 days, these dedicated ministers have demonstrated visionary leadership and a deep commitment to the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, and have stayed true to their promise to transform the entire housing ecosystem of our country. The ministry has been steadfast in its commitment to advancing housing and urban development, fostering sustainable cities and communities as exposed under the Sustainable Development Goals number 11, and most importantly, enhancing the quality of life for all Nigerians by creating vibrant, inclusive, and resilient communities and addressing the housing needs of our growing population. It will be recalled that the Honourable Ministers, since assumption of office, have rigorously pursued and articulated action plans in the housing and urban development sector in conformity with the Renewed Hope agenda, whose goals and objectives align with the priorities and deliverables of the federal government towards ending poverty, growing our economy, creating jobs for Nigerians, and building a Nigeria that is responsive to the yearnings of the citizenry. Upon creation newly from the defunct Federal Ministry of Works and Housing in 2023, and the assumption of office of these pioneering ministers, the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development aggressively embarked on the implementation of numerous transformative projects and initiatives These include the provision of affordable housing under the Renew Hope Cities and Estate Housing Project, urban renewal and slum upgrade projects across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT, and numerous constituency infrastructure projects nationwide. This aggressive and coordinated approach has positioned the ministry to deliver on the presidential priorities in the housing and urban development sector and achieve its ministerial deliverables. This ministry has also put in place a planned welfare initiative to ensure the empowerment of its staff who are working assiduously to ensure the success of this project. This past year has also been marked by a robust engagement with critical stakeholders, including our private sector, development partners, donor organizations, community-based organizations, and non-governmental organizations, among others. We believe that collaboration is key to achieving our goals, and the partnership we have cultivated are instrumental in driving forward our agenda for a sustainable housing and urban future for our country. In a very short while, the Honourable Minister will be unveiling the tremendous achievements recorded in the first 12 months of assumption of office. These, among others, include the inauguration of the housing sector reform tax schemes to support the ministry in the delivery of its mandate, of which some of their preliminary recommendations are already being implemented. Today, as we reflect on our accomplishment, on behalf of every staff of the ministry, we want to pledge that we will not rest on our oars as we look forward to the future with renewed vigor, hope, and determination, and remain committed to tackling the challenges that lie ahead and to building on the solid foundation we have established. Our ministry's vision is very clear: to promote sustainable housing, land management, and urban infrastructure that is accessible, affordable, decent, and inclusive for Nigerians. And we are fully committed to doing just this. In conclusion, I would like to take this opportunity to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our partners, stakeholders, and committed staff members who have contributed to our success. I want to thank very well the members of the Federal Executive Council and the National Assembly for their tremendous support. I cannot forget our friends from the fourth estate of the realm, whom we consider as our fourth ambassadors, our worthy ambassadors, equipped with the requisite information about our workings in the ministry, and we hope that you will help in sensitizing the public on the activities and programs of the ministry and how they can benefit as citizens. We also urge you to participate actively in today's program. Ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed with today's briefing, approach and ensuring that we remain responsive to the needs of Nigerians. Thank you all for your continued support and for joining us today in celebrating this important milestone. Together, we will continue to advance our vision for a thriving and dynamic urban future for Nigeria. Thank you and God bless.
We thank the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Marcus Ogumbi, for these welcome remarks. Let's appreciate him once more, ladies and gentlemen. With me on the mic this morning is the brand name in event anchoring in person of Ben 200. We are here with him to anchor the program. Mr. Ben.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning once again, and thank you for this honor. And congratulations to the Honourable Ministers and to the ministry generally. Thank you. May I also especially appreciate members of the National Assembly for the support you provided to the ministry. Two houses working as one. One has told me about an inherited one-story building of a family. The elder brother was given the land, the house under, and the younger brother was given the one on the top. But the younger brother was richer, so he renovated his own. After 5 years, the elder brother got money and he wanted to renovate, but he said he was not going to renovate, he was going to demolish. And then there was a problem. Should we allow him demolish? Where will the younger brother put his own building? Well, we thank the National Assembly, two houses working as one and helping the ministry to move on. Please put your hands together for them. Today we gather to celebrate the significant milestone and the first anniversary of this ministry led by our own Honourable Minister, Architect Adam Ahmed Dengiwa's tenure as Minister of Housing and Urban Development. For us, we understand that from the outset, he's demonstrated an unparalleled commitment to addressing Nigeria's housing challenges. His tenure has been marked by very decisive actions and strategic initiatives that have set new standards in this sector. One, of course, notable accomplishments is the establishment of key working committees and task teams dedicated to streamlining efforts towards housing sector changes by unifying stakeholders and agencies. He has also fostered an environment of collaboration and efficiency, ensuring that all resources and expertise are focused on delivering not only affordable housing solutions, but also accessible policies that will help the poor to smile. Under his stewardship, we've also witnessed significant strides in the development of affordable housing projects, and we have continued to appreciate what he has done. As we celebrate today, we acknowledge not only the milestones achieved, but also the promises of a future that lies ahead. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for providing this basic position for us. We also want to thank the press for doing a good job. Please put your hands together for them. We thank the staff of the ministry. Let's appreciate them also, because if they don't come to work, we will not succeed. We thank our directors and heads of departments. The task team, you have done greatly, and the heads of agencies. To the permanent secretary, thank you also. To the Minister of State, thank you. And above all, let's extend our heartfelt congratulations to the Honourable Minister for his outstanding leadership in expressing our deepest gratitude for his unwavering commitment to transforming the housing sector. Thank you, Your Excellency. To begin very quickly, we'll take a few goodwill messages, and I understand that there will be goodwill indeed. The first, of course, will be from one who has worked closely with us and has made it easy for us at the National Assembly. May I invite the Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Honourable Abiante Awaji, Inimbek Dagomie. Please put your hands together as we come to make this presentation. Please, let's put our hands together for him. Thank you very much. Cameraman, did you capture that hug? Thank you very much. We're always honored to have you with us. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's okay. Good morning. My brother, I think he's senior now. The Chairman, House Committee on Housing and Habitat. Honourable Minister, Honourable Minister of State, Permanent Secretary, Directors. I always liked brothers and sisters so that I don't get into trouble. Aside, I was asking my brother if it is because of a few other things that I won't mention that they always add something behind his name. And they didn't make mistake with your name, but for mine, they gave me a new name. I'm not going there. Good morning, all. I am not a man that is used to protocols, for those who have known me for some time. I have come here to join us in thanking Mr. President for having to create this ministry. All along you had existed and operated as probably a department or something somewhere, and that may have hindered your achievements. For this 1 year plus that we have a Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, we can feel the impact. It's as if there is a new realization that housing is one of the very basic needs of humans, humanity, and mankind. Help me applaud Mr. President. We are delivering houses in thousands across the 36 states of this country. We are concerned as a committee on how effective this would be. As we partner, we will continue to partner with the ministry to remain focused. But we will not fail to mention that the housing development should solve problems and not create problems. If the concept is not comprehensive, if the impact of the housing, their location and what they save mankind is not considered, you'll be creating more of the Trademore estates. For those of you who live in Abuja, when you mention Trademore estate, you understand what I'm talking about. The challenges of the flood, because the planning may not have been effective, comprehensive, and integrated. You cannot build an estate and not consider the impact of the increased number of persons that will live there on the road. You could have an estate, live somewhere, you have about 3,000 cars that pass in 1 hour. You bring in another estate without adequate planning to give and create alternatives. You find out that areas that you commute in 30 minutes, you will remain there for 2 hours because there is no planning. You build an estate, you generate waste, and you don't consider how you would dispense and discharge or convert that waste. It is going to be a problem. So, Honourable Minister, I applaud you for your achievements thus far. Pledge the commitment of our committee to working with you, achieving greater successes in this area. But in doing so, adequate attention should be paid to the very fundamental aspects of planning, integration, and delivering the houses to solve problems and not creating more. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Please, let's give him another round of applause. Thank you. The next, very quickly, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to invite the Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibril. Please put your hands together for him. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up.
Thank you so much. The Chairman House Committee on Urban and Regional Planning. Why are you not seated? Honourable Minister, you want to be mischievous. The Honourable Minister, my senior brother, the Minister of my state, the permanent Secretary, Chief Executives of Parastatal, and of course their management, the Managing Director of Shelter Afrique, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start a bit on a lighter note. The minister ambushed me this morning. I didn't know. So part of the dressing protocol, they dressed me with a very lovely cap. Of course, you know I'm of the NNPP, but of course a very good friend of the, very good son and friend of the president. But until when I sat down, before I noticed the logo, so I said, well, this is the biggest ambush that I have seen. But all the same, before you know, somebody will go on the road and say, he has decamped, he has moved to Swaju's camp. That's actually on a lighter note. But very quickly, today for me it's a day for celebration. It's a day for us to flaunt what we've achieved. It's a day for us to tell the public the efforts that we've made and the milestone we've reached in trying to meet all the targets that we've set out to be able to achieve in the next 4 years and perhaps beyond. From the angle of the House of Representatives the committee, for me, I have seen a dedicated set of people. I've seen a minister that has demonstrated that he understands the sector and has been able to draw a roadmap to where he intends to take the sector. I have seen him working with his team, my senior brother, the Minister of State, the Permanent Secretary leading a very solid bureaucracy. I have seen also the recruitment of some good hands coming in various agencies, and I have also seen a very good collaboration between the public and the private sector. It does not mean that all it's 100%, but once you see the zeal and the commitment to be able to achieve what we all expect as what the sector should be, we should be able to commend the ministry and of course all other officers that are working both in the ministry and of course the parastatals. Let me draw a quick conclusion by saying I've also seen the Honourable Minister and of course his team designing a priority which I believe is very critical to the sector, and will continue to encourage them from the point of view of the National Assembly to be able to achieve those priorities. I've seen the ministry focus on land reforms. Honourable Minister, we're looking forward to the land commission. I've seen the ministry focus on the social housing funds. I've seen a lot of efforts being pushed towards that. We're really looking forward eagerly towards that. I also understand that a bill is coming, and be rest assured that we will treat that bill with dispatch by the time it comes. And it will be a major game changer in the housing sector. I've also seen efforts because there's a huge liability in the housing sector, and this is also an opportunity for us to be able to add our voice to it. I have seen commitments towards dealing with the issue of huge liability in the housing sector, and I also believe that a lot of other stakeholders that have something to do as regard the liability in the housing sector will be listening to this and also understand that it is very important we tackle the huge liability in the housing sector so that we'll be able to get the sector to a ground zero. Honourable Minister, do not relent. I've seen efforts with you, your Minister, Permanent Secretary, MDs of your parastatal. Do not relent in what we keep talking about, the issue of regulation in the sector. I know that a lot of work is going behind the scene. We'll continue to share our own ideas with you so that we can be able to reach some kind of consensus on how we'll be able to deal with the issue of regulation in the sector. And of course, the issue of synergy between the public and private sector, part of what we are going to see today with the signing of MOU between the ministry and of course Shelter Africa. We will say to you, well done, 1 year. We're looking forward to see a lot of fruits dropping from the tree in the next 2, 3, 4 years. And of course, from the angle of the National Assembly, you will always have our support and we'll always give you the push where necessary. It doesn't mean that we will not ask you hard questions where we should, but you continue to have our support. Thank you very much, and it's such a pleasure being with you here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the Honorable Chairman, Housing and Habitat, Honorable Minister Briefing. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, one key stakeholder in the housing industry is Shelter Africa Development Bank. And the Managing Director of the bank is here with us in person of Mr. Tiono Habib Han. I now invite him to deliver a goodwill message. Managing Director, sir.
Thank you very much. The Chairman of the House Committee on Housing and Habitat, distinguished members of the House Committee on Housing and Habitat, the Chairman of House Committee on Urban and Regional Development, distinguished members of the House Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Your Excellency, the Honourable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Your Excellency, the Honourable Minister of State of Housing and Urban Development, the Permanent Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, the Managing Director, Chief Executive of Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, the Managing Director, Chief Executive of Federal Housing Authority, FHA, Chairman and members of the Housing Reform Task Teams here present, Directors and heads of departments of the ministry here present, special assistants, members of the press, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I want to begin by congratulating the Honourable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, and the Honourable Minister of State, Alhaji Abdullahi Tijani Guazo, on this occasion of their 1 year in office. As the MD and CEO of Shelter Africa Development Bank, SHAFDB, I have within this 1 year worked very closely with the Honourable Minister, Architect Dangiwa, as the 42nd Chair of the AGM Bureau of the Multilateral Bank, which is Shelter Africa Development Bank. His tenure has only expired a couple of months ago at our annual general meeting in Kigali in Rwanda. During this time, I came to know the Honourable Minister as an outstanding African technocrat, someone who is passionate about increasing access to affordable housing, not only in his country, Nigeria, but the rest of Africa, as the chair of our AGM Bureau. As a stakeholder in Africa's housing ecosystem and leader of the leading Pan-African housing institution, Shelter Africa Development Bank, where Nigeria is the second largest shareholder after Kenya, I have noted with great admiration the bold steps that the Honourable Minister and his team have taken over this past year to change the narrative and the landscape of housing in Nigeria. From the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates Program, the Urban Renewal and Slum Upgrade drive to create livable communities, housing reforms, efforts to streamline land administration, to setting up of a social housing program to cater to low and no income citizens. It has been a year marked by clarity of purpose, a determination to create impact, and a patriotic zeal to make Nigeria better. So the letter of intent and roadmap that we are about to sign today represent a landmark and historical milestone in Shelter Afrique Development Bank's partnership with Nigeria for advisory services and financing of developments and PPPs towards the construction of 5,000 affordable housing units to support the renewed hope agenda of the Ministry for Housing and Urban Development. This is indeed the first time in the history of the ministry that we'll be signing a framework for partnership, and it could be you and your proactive and progressive approach, Excellency, to leadership that could have made this possible. It is these kinds of partnerships that our institution, Shelter Afrique Development Bank, is looking for across the continent. On this occasion of your anniversary, I want you to know, Honourable Minister and distinguished guests, that I'm very proud of all the hard work and support you've given to our institution, Shelter Afrique Development Bank, and we are all proud of you. And of course, I know that Nigerians are even more prouder than ourselves. In your current role as chair of our caucus of African Ministers of Housing and Urban Development, we are looking to your leadership and wisdom as we seek to move Shelter Afrique Development Bank to the next chapter of its growth and impact, profitability and sustainability. Honourable Minister, we celebrate your success thus far and the success of the department under the stewardship of His Excellency President of Nigeria, and your leadership whose legacy will be felt for years to come. I urge all stakeholders here present in Nigeria to support the department and Honourable Minister Dangiwa and his team, because they mean well and they're committed to making a difference. And Shelter Afrique will be by you to accompany you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause to appreciate him. Thank you, sir. He has assured that Shelter Afrique will be there to always support. I'm sure we'll take that to the bank. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I especially appreciate the representatives of the chairman of our tax teams. We have the Federal Housing Institutions Reform Tax Team, represented here by Adediji Adesimoye. Please put your hands together for him. The chairman of the Building Materials Manufacturing Tax Team, Architect Nuhu Wire, is represented by Architect Moradeke Okurimboe. You're welcome. And the tax team chair for Multi-Agency Delivery Tax Team, retired General Architect Tunde Rees, is represented by Architect Choma Wogu Ugbuna. You're welcome. May I just add that we have the Chairman, BOT of NOIB, past Cobon Council, a member, and past Registrar of Cobon Builder Aliu Over. FNIB is representing the Chairman of Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, Cobon Builder Samson Ame Opalua. You're welcome. Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting closer and closer to the meat of our matter for today, the point where we get the media to ask questions about the 1 year in office. But someone had asked me also that who will be delivering that message. And I think it is proper that we do an appropriate introduction so we don't separate the man from his message. The story of 1 year. In the genesis of a dream, the journey begins with a canvas pristine and bare, where visions bubble into reality. First, the land is cleared when you want to build a house. A blank state forged from nature's embrace, and trees and earth yield to their promise of transformation. Then the terrain is ready, beats in anticipation, waiting for the architect's masterpiece. This is how I will describe the rise to prominence of this minister. But his towering success cannot be squeezed into 365 days, as they represent the very essence of his being, as if he was born to be minister and had done everything from the day he was born that is required of his office. In the rendition of the Nigeria's urban evolution, one name will continue to remain prominent for unparalleled brilliance. That is the name architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa. A visionary architect of progress, he stands as a pillar of innovation in the realm of housing and urban development. His continuous contributions have been nothing short of monumental, sculpting dreams into tangible realities with a masterful hand. He has laid a sturdy bedrock of ambition where steel and concrete intertwine to dance of fortune, anchoring the future of promise to earth. He has deftly designed the future of our cities, and his tenure has been marked by an unyielding commitment to forging structures of excellence and building communities that thrive on the strength of their foundations. His achievements are not mere constructs of brick and mortar, but living, breathing embodiments of hope and resilience. Like in building, distinguished guests, the interiors unfurl with the flourish of detail where finishes, textures, and hues converge in a harmonious blend, creating a sanctuary of comfort and style. So for agencies and outsiders, each room, a canvas, is adorned with elegance and purpose, reflecting the essence of his architect's vision. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today I present to us one whose life and tenure represents the true craftsmanship. Okay. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the story of this craftsmanship and modern urban landscape in meticulous architectural work will be represented to us in a brief remark or in a brief message, a short story, and a work that our team has gone out to do around the country. But this story is the story of his legacy, a legacy of a skyline of prosperity that stands as a testament to his extraordinary ability to weave together threads of progress and innovation. And so, distinguished guests, I ask us to focus on the screen as we take a look at the work in 1 year, how we have managed to reduce them into a few minutes for you to understand. But working with his team brings us this video. Now, please put your hands together for our team that has been able to bring that together.
Are you telling me? The two strong men there, they don't want here to do. Minister, we even say go ahead. What I'm saying, what I'm saying, it's like they have also on their own.
Housing and urban development. Out of many notable initiatives, two clearly stand out in terms of impact. They are the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program, with 6,612 housing units under construction in 13 locations nationwide, 165,300 jobs created, and the Urban Renewal and Slum Upgrade program, currently going on in 26 project sites nationwide. The Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program is a nationwide housing delivery initiative of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. Under Phase 1, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development plans to deliver 50,000 housing units comprising 7 cities, one in each geopolitical zone and the Federal Capital Territory, and one estate in each of the remaining 30 states of the country. In February 2024, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, performed the groundbreaking for 3,112 housing units Renewed Hope City at Karsana, Abuja.
You have advocated from the Honourable Minister and his team what they are about to do to turn the country to a large construction site for housing units.
The project is part of a 100,000 housing unit public-private partnership arrangement with a consortium of developers, with 20,000 units to be delivered in the FCT and the remaining 80,000 in various locations across the country. The projects are designed to be inclusive and integrated and to support Nigerians across various income segments, with organic designs adopted in the estates to enable expansion from 1 bedroom to 2 and 3 bedrooms. The problem of affordability is being tackled in an innovative and cost-effective manner.
We have designed these housing units in a way that makes them affordable for people to acquire by using organic designs to allow future expansion as the income beneficiaries increases. This means that a 1-bedroom flat can be expanded to 2 bedrooms, and the 2-bedroom unit can be expanded to 3 bedrooms as the owner's financial situation improves or their family grows.
The cities have 1,000 housing units per site, while the estates will have 250 housing units per site in the remaining 30 states. The Renewed Hope cities have been designed as integrated living communities targeting all income brackets and comprising 1-bedroom block of flats, 2-bedroom blocks of flats, and 3-bedroom blocks of flats, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom terraces, 4-bedroom duplexes, and 5-bedroom duplexes. On the other hand, the Renewed Hope estates have been designed to cater to low and medium income earners. They comprise 1, 2, and 3-bedroom semi-detached bungalows. In May 2024, groundbreaking for the first leg of nationwide Renewed Hope cities and estates for a total of 1,500 housing units kicked off in Katsina with 250 housing units.
Nationwide, we currently have estates in 12 locations and 3 cities across the country. The estates include that of Katsina, Yobe, Babe, Abia, Nasarawa, Benue, Akwa Ibom, Delta, Sokoto, Oyo, and Osun states. The cities are in Abuja, Kano, and Lagos. After here, we'll be going to Kano today for the groundbreaking of 500 housing units in Kano tomorrow, 250 housing units in Yobe, and another 250 housing units in Babe. In total, we are doing groundbreaking of 1,250 housing units across the 4 states of the northern Nigeria within the next 4 days.
Through initiatives like this, we can transform our lives and build a more prosperous and equitable society. As we break ground on this housing estate today, let us remember the significance of this moment. Let us celebrate the progress we have made and looking forward to a positive impact this project will have on the life of our people.
The train moved to Kano State the next day for the groundbreaking of a 500-unit Renewed Hope City. Here, the intention of government was made clear: to build integrated cities that promote equality and community among residents.
This way, 100 housing units cover Liverpool City, and will also encourage economic growth and opportunities. It will create new opportunities during the construction phase. The nurses, bricklayers, plumbers, and will continue to generate economic benefit in the state and its
the development of housing sector in the state.
Other states covered in the first leg were Gombe, Yobe, and Sokoto. With groundbreaking for 250 housing units in each state, comprising 1, 2, and 3-bedroom bungalows. The states covered the northwest and northeast regions.
Work is currently going in each of these sites, and our plan is to have all of them completed within the next couple of months or within 3 months. Our broad aim through the program is to turn the country into a huge construction site.
With an average of 6,500 persons engaged at each site, earning an average of 140,000 naira per month, the Renewed Hope program is not only about shelter, but job creation and economic development. Developers have also been cautioned to abstain from substandard practices. The projects are expected to be delivered in 3 months to enable residents of the state occupy the homes.
We are here with His Excellency the Governor, represented by the Deputy Governor.
Fast forward to 2 months later, and the second leg of groundbreaking was underway. This time in June 2024, the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development took the nationwide Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program to the southeast, south-south, southwest, and north-central geopolitical zones. It was for a total of 2,000 housing units, 250 units in each of the states, beginning with Ebonyi.
Today, we lay this foundation in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
I want to charge the developers, Jeffran Global Investment Limited, the Proportion Construction Works Nigeria Limited, the Ideal Shelters Limited, and the Clean Construction Works Limited to ensure that they build according to specifications. I want to warn in very strong terms that we will not tolerate substandard work.
I am delighted to be part of this historic movement, making the beginning of the remarkable journey to provide affordable housing for our people. Honourable Minister, I sincerely applaud your vision and dedication to the cause of this, and to assure you of our full support in making this program a resounding success.
The next stop was Abia State, with emphasis laid on the number of jobs the project would create. According to the minister, the 250 housing units would employ 6,250 skilled and unskilled individuals at an average of 25 jobs per unit.
of professionals like architects, quantity surveyors, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, masons, builders, plumbers, tilers, and electricians. This is in addition to the economic activities, including those selling food, supplying blocks, supplying timber, providing building materials. The evolution effect of the construction work on this side is significant and creates a positive economic impact. I want to thank you again for creating this year, having 250 units.
For high-income earners. The funding for the 12 Renewed Hope Estates and Renewed Hope City in Kano comes from the 50 billion naira 2023 supplementary budget.
For particular about giving Nigerian employees the funding of these projects come from the 50 billion naira we have received in the 2023 supplementary budget of the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development.
The supplementary budget, the ministry has ongoing and completed projects in a total of 26 sites nationwide. These include 4 sites in each of the 6 regions of the country, totaling 24 sites, and 2 sites in the FCT. The key services being provided address housing deficit and urban challenges once and for all.
Thank you very much. We want to thank you for watching that, but that's just half of what we have produced. In fact, that's the half of the reduced version of the documentary. But we have reduced it also into a flash drive as well as a booklet form, and we'll make them available to you before you leave, so you can, at the comfort of your offices or your homes, watch them or read through documents. They are evidence-based. You can see them, you can watch them, and I think we should clap for the minister again. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, 1 year have been too short to build the skyscrapers that his dreams represent, but in 1 year, the foundations are strong, and finally, the house is coming out. In the next few minutes, we will hear of the achievements of 1 year, but we'll also see the dreams and picture of a complete dream, a firebrand tenor, and an accomplished masterpiece. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, permit me as I invite the one who has received the Award of Excellence by the organization of Kankia Transformation Forum, Katsina State, the Award of Excellence for Real Estate Personality of the Year, Certificate of Service as Member of the Governing Council, Public Service Officer of the Year in 2018, Icon Prestigious Award for 2018, Housing Development Advocacy Network and Housing TV Africa, Champion of Empowerment and Disability Inclusion in Nigeria, Mortgage Banker of the Year, Presidential Award for Vocational Service, Award of Excellence by the Best Institution in Support of Home Ownership in Nigeria, Nigeria Real Estate Award, NACA's 2020 Employers Excellence Award, one whom architects refer to as fellow, masons refer to him as master, scaffolders refer to him as pillar, SON calls him as standard bearer, and Radan refers to him as the promise keeper. Builders call him confirm. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, FNIA, FCIB, Honourable Minister of Housing and Urban Development.
Sir, you can sit down, please. Thank you very much. No, you can sit down. The Honourable Minister sorry, please. The Chairman, House Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honourable Minister Jibrin, the distinguished members of the House Committee on Housing and Habitat, the Chairman, House Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Honourable Abiante Awaji, the distinguished members of the House Committee on Urban Development and Regional Development, the Honourable Minister of State, His Excellency Alhaji Abdullahi Tijani Gorzo, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Marcus Ogumbi of the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development, here with us, the Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Shelter Africa Development Bank, Mr. Therno Habib Han, who came all the way from Kenya to witness this occasion. The Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Shehu Usman Osidi, and his Executive Director here with us. The MD of the CEO of the Federal Housing Authority, ably represented by his Executive Director, Mr. Matthias. The Chairman and members of the House Reform Task Teams here present. I'm happy to learn that Mr. Adedeji Adesimo is here with us. The directors of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, the head of departments, our special assistants, members of the press, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly 1 year ago today, I resumed office as the Honourable Minister of Housing and Development with my dear brother and friend, His Excellency Alhaji Abdullahi Tijani Gorzo as the Honourable Minister of State. This was after our appointment by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DCFR, and confirmation by the Nigerian Senate. At the ministry, we met a team of hard-working and committed professionals. They provided us with the needed support to begin the actualization of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President for housing and urban development on a strong note. This includes the former Permanent Secretary, our current Permanent Secretary, Dr. Marcus O. Ogumbi, FNSE, the directors, the senior, middle management, lower cadre, and ancillary staff and workers of the ministry. We thank you very much. So today we mark 1 year in office. We want to begin this press briefing by thanking Almighty God for preserving us. Mr. President, to thank Mr. President for the opportunity to serve, our aides for the support they have given us, all staff of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development for their hard work, and our partners for the value that they add to our work. When we resumed office, we developed an action plan in line with the presidential priorities and deliverables of Mr. President. This was necessary to guide us in the implementation of the reforms initiatives that will increase the access to affordable housing for Nigerians, unlock the potential of the housing sector, and contribute to the economic growth and improve our urban landscape. Some of the key components of the Action Plan 2023 to 2027 are as follows. The first is the rapidly reforming the federal housing institutions to make them more efficient and increase their capacity. Increase the housing stock of decent and affordable housing units in the country to meet the rising demand. Thirdly, expand the implementation of the National Urban Renewal and Slum Upgrade Program to improve livability of our urban areas and slums, and streamline land administration and governance through the review of the Land Use Act in conjunction with the National Assembly and state governments. Establish the National Social Housing Fund to ensure access to decent housing for low and no income earners and their privileged and the IDPs. And establish private sector-led local building materials manufacturing clusters in each of the political zones of the country to reduce imports and lower cost of housing construction. Over the last 1 year, we have recorded substantial progress towards achieving these goals. First is we have laid a solid foundation for sustainable housing sector reforms that will touch on all critical value points and problem areas in Nigerian housing ecosystem. As you may recall, in January, we inaugurated 4 housing sector reform task teams with a focus on producing blueprints for strengthening federal housing institutions, including FMBN and FHA, streamlining land administration, and ensuring multi-agency collaboration and establishment of building materials manufacturing hubs in each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Today, I'm happy to report that despite several challenges, these teams of professionals and their leaders have over the past 6 months worked hard and made a lot of personal sacrifices towards producing their reports. We will study their recommendations and take necessary actions towards implementing them as we begin our 2nd year in office. I want, on behalf of Mr. President, the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development, and stakeholders in the housing sector, to commend all the task teams for their good work and dedication. Thank you all. Second, we have made substantial progress in increasing the stock of affordable and decent housing stock for Nigerians, with the groundbreaking of 6,612 housing units across 13 locations nationwide under the Ministry's Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program. This includes the 3,112 housing unit Renewed Hope City in Karsana, Abuja, under the public-private partnership. 12 other locations are being funded under the 2023 supplementary budget, and they include the 500 Renewed Hope City in Kano and 250 Renewed Hope Estates in Katsina, Yobe, Gombe, Sokoto, Ibonyi, Abia, Akwa Ibom, Delta, Benue, Nasarawa, Osun, and Oyo states. The Renewed Hope Cities comprise of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom block of flats, as you have seen from the video clips, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom terraces, 4 bedroom duplexes, and 5 bedroom duplexes. The Renewed Hope Estates to cater to low and medium income earners comprise 1, 2, and 3 bedroom semi-detached bungalows. Construction is ongoing on all these 14 sites, and the plan is for the developers to complete them within 3 months. As we speak, some of them have reached roof levels. They are evenly distributed, with 2 each in each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. They also cut across all party lines, as the only criteria being that states that provided free and unencumbered land first are the ones that were taken. Once they are completed, Nigerians can own them through a broad range of affordable ownership options. This includes single-digit and up to 30-year mortgage loans to be provided by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, the rent-to-own options where beneficiaries can move in and pay towards home ownership on monthly, quarterly, or annual installments. We have outright purchase for high-income earners or installmental payments. So at an average of 25 jobs per house, these 6,612 units are providing jobs for over 165,000 skilled and unskilled Nigerians. This in addition to the value chain effects of purchase, supplying of building materials, businesses around the construction sites, etc. To make it easy for Nigerians to own these homes under the program, we launched earlier last month an online housing platform. The platform provides a transparent, easy to use, integrated web-based application for the sale of homes from application to payment. It is a one-stop shop. You don't need to lobby anyone to own a home under the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program. You visit the site www.renewedhopehomes.fmhud.gov.ng. You check the house you want in the state that you want, you apply, you pay, and print a provision offer letter once you download it. So over a couple of months, analytics show that over 47,605 Nigerians, local and abroad, have created accounts on the Renewed Hope housing portal, indicating interest in home ownership. In fact, over the last 2 weeks alone, over 250,000 Nigerians have visited the website. This is just after the Mr. Presidential broadcast by a mere mention of the Renewed Hope, the success of the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program. Thirdly, We have also expanded the ministry's urban renewal and slum upgrade program. Under phase 1 of the slum upgrade and program, the ministry has projects ongoing, and some have already been completed in a total of 26 sites nationwide. This includes 4 sites in each of the 6 geographical regions of the country, totaling 24, and 2 in the FCT, Federal Capital Territory. The key services provided at the identified sites include water supply, solar street lights, rehabilitation of access roads, construction of drainages, waste management, and sanitation services, amongst others. Most of the sites are now completed. Fourth, we have also taken pragmatic steps to fast-track the sale and occupation of the housing units under the National Housing Program across the country for our predecessor under the National Housing Program. When we came on board, we found over 6,000 houses at various completion, with 3,000 completed, but they have not been sold. In January, we advertised the expression of interest expression of interest forms with 4 windows of subscription to give room for all income segments of Nigerians as follows: those who want to buy outright payment or mortgage or rent-to-own or installmental payment. With this advert, we received a total of 8,925 expression of interest. This comprises 1,294 of outright purchase, 2,408 for mortgage, 2,184 for rent-to-own, and 3,039 for installmental payment. We have released the first batch of offer of provisional allocation letters for outright payment for successful applicants, and keys are issued to some of them as of last 2 weeks. Those who apply to own homes via mortgage are currently being processed by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and also the rent-to-own. So our fifth is that we have also made significant progress in our efforts to establish the National Social Housing Fund in line with the President's renewed hope agenda to ensure that all Nigerians, including the low and no income, vulnerable and underprivileged groups, have access to decent and dignified accommodation. The ministry's technical committee and the consultants have done extensive work on developing the framework for its own implementation. 6, as part of our land reforms, we are exploring a partnership with the World Bank towards the implementation of the National Land Titling Program. Through this program, we aim to partner with state governments towards providing land formalization from the less than 10% that is currently to 50% in the next 10 years. Through this initiative, the government, through the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development, aims to establish a comprehensive, efficient, and accessible land registration system across Nigeria in line with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. By recording land transactions and ownership and implementing advanced digital tools and technologies, the National Land Registration Development Program seeks to ensure that efficient land data management and accessibility for all stakeholders. We have also made good progress in fixing the issues with the Federal Land Information Systems. This digital system was created by our predecessor as part of efforts to centralize records of federal government land, ensuring their safety and integrity. For years, our nation has now grappled with conflicting and unsubstantiated figures regarding this housing deficit crisis. This range of estimates, varying from 17 million to 28 million, has not only been a source of embarrassment, but also a hindrance to effective policy making and strategic planning. So on Monday this week, we inaugurated the Joint Steering Committee on National Housing Data. The committee has the mandate to develop and implement a blueprint for ensuring transparency and ease of access to housing data in Nigeria for policy and decision makers. Members include representatives from the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development, the National Population Commission, the National Bureau of Statistics, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Nigerian Mortgage Finance Company, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, the Federal Housing Authority, Family Funds Funds Limited, the Mortgage Banker Association of Nigeria, Housing Development Advocacy Network, Real Estate Developer Association of Nigeria, and Association of Housing Corporations of Nigeria, thus encompassing all the housing stakeholders in the country. They have 6 months to complete their job and provide an actionable framework for establishing a national housing data center. As we move into the new year, I'm hopeful that we'll maintain the tempo of activities and record more milestones towards actualizing the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency, the President, for housing and urban development. We plan to do groundbreaking in a couple of weeks for 2,000 housing unit renewed hope cities in Lagos and another 1,500 housing units renewed hope city also in Kano through the PPP and FMBN next month. We have also acquired land in Enugu and Borno State where we plan to build another 2,000 housing units, renewed hope cities in each location under the PPP arrangement. Other planned locations in the cities include the Nasarawa 2,000 units and Rivers 2,000 units. Overall, the renewed hope cities and estates program now has footprints in FCT and 13 states, remaining 18 states to have the cities, to have the estates. We are currently engaging the National Assembly and stakeholders towards 2024 supplementary provision to enable us to kickstart the projects in those 18 remaining states. Most of them have already provided us with unencumbered land at no cost to the ministry. I want at this point to take our time to sincerely express my profound appreciation and gratitude to the leadership of the National Assembly and members of the committees that oversight our ministry for their continual support and encouragement. We thank His Excellency the Chairman, Senate Committee on Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Senator Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, CON, and distinguished members of the Senate Committee on Lands, Housing and Urban Development. We thank the Chairman, House Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honourable Minister Kofa, and distinguished members of the Committee on Housing and Habitat. We also thank the Chairman, House Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Honourable Abiante Awaji, and distinguished members of the House Committee on Housing and Regional Development. We thank you for gracing this occasion within a limited time. Thank you very much. Yep. You have all been of phenomenal support to our work at the ministry, and I recall that months ago I noted that there is a massive and historic mismatch between the housing and urban development needs of our country versus the budgetary provisions. I pointed out that from research, Nigeria's population of over 220 million population with a growth rate of 2.5% per annum requires about 550,000 housing units annually over the next 10 years to meet the housing deficit. I also noted that this will require about 5.5 trillion per annum to fix this the deficit. While I acknowledge that this cannot come from the government and that we are working on PPPs and other sources of housing finance to bridge the gap, it is necessary for the government to do more in terms of budgetary allocation to housing and urban development. On this basis, we made a solemn request for the budgetary allocation of a minimum of 500 billion budgetary allocation per annum for the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program, so that we can create more impact and enable more Nigerians have access to decent shelter. I'm happy to say that this was well received by the National Assembly committees. This means that we are on course to tripling our impact in the second year, God willing. Besides increased budgetary allocation, we are intent on exploring all possible housing financing options to tackle the massive housing deficit that we face as a country. We may not have the financial war chest, but we have the leverage as a government. For far too long, we have failed to maximize our relationships with bilateral and multilateral institutions, including that we have substantial interest. We have seen where smaller African countries are taking advantage of those housing development institutions to boost housing for their citizens, while we simply watch. Within this 1 year, we have taken steps to changes. That is why I'm pleased to announce that we are set to sign a housing development partnership with Shelter Africa Development Bank. Under the partnership, the Shelter Africa Development Bank, a Pan-African housing institution, will support the Renewed Hope program with advisory services and financing of competent developers. We are looking at about 5,000 housing units in the pilot. This will be the first time that the ministry is entering into such a practical and direct partnership with a multilateral institution for the construction of homes for Nigerians. Nigeria is the second largest shareholder in SharpDB, only after Kenya with 29 million US dollars as our share subscription. I want to specially thank the Managing Director of the bank, Mr. Sarno Habib Han, for coming all the way from Kenya to be part of today's event. Thank you, Mr. Han. Finally, before I close, I would like to appreciate the Chairman, House Committee on Urban and Regional Development on your advice to always consider environmental and social impact assessment or analysis on any of our estates programs and estates planning. We thank you for that advice, and we are on it. So also, I want to observe what the Honourable Chairman, House Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honourable Jibrin, that to all us that he appreciated us for working in harmony with my colleague, the Honourable Minister of State, who has given me all the support throughout our tenure. And I would like to thank the Honourable Minister of State for your kind cooperation throughout our tenure of this 1 year. Without this cooperation, we would not have achieved where we have been to now. I thank the Permanent Secretary and the entire staff of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development for their dedication and partnership in ensuring that we have achieved our mandate. In conclusion, I want to express our profound gratitude to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for giving us the opportunity to serve. We want to reiterate our commitment to doing all within our powers to make a difference and justify the confidence that His Excellency reposes on us. Thank you all for your attention. I would like to formally launch the Renewed Hope Estates program booklet. This is a compendium of all the Renewed Hope projects that we have done the groundbreaking nationwide for the benefit of Nigerians to see. The second one is the Renewed Hope National Urban Renewal and Slum Upgrade Program, where we touched 26 locations nationwide, 4 in each location of the country, where the projects are there for Nigerians to view before the intervention and after the intervention. These are some of the projects that it has benefited many of the Nigerians, for Nigerians to see and appreciate this government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have also have the Renewed Hope 1 year activities of the ministry, a compendium to which we are now launching for the benefit of Nigerians to witness and confirm that. And we look forward to more of these beneficial benefits to the country and Nigerians at large. Thank you very much. For the gentlemen of the press, is it appropriate time to take questions or after? All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the Honourable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, There's a saying in my language that a better Friday, a sign of a better Friday starts from Wednesday. And so from the presentation of the Honourable Minister under the first year when you're in office, tell us there are better days ahead in the remaining years of his administration. And I want to quote in his last paragraph a word of assurance that we want to reiterate our commitment to doing all within our powers to make a difference and justify the confidence that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu reposes in us. That is a stronger reassurance. Thank you, the Honourable Minister. Before we take the question and answer session, we want to run a short video on easy step to secure your homes. Just a short video.
But still want a dream home? Then keep watching. We've got you covered. Step 1, head over to the Renewed Hope Housing website. Click on Properties and select your desired property to view its details. Easy, right? Step 2, click on the application form located at the top right corner of the screen. Provide your contact and other information. Double check everything for accuracy. This ensures that the provisional offer letter generated for you is error-free. Click Apply to proceed. You will be prompted to create a password for future logins. Next, enter the OTP sent to the email address you provided. Step 3, a provisional offer letter will be generated for you to review and accept, after which you can proceed to payment. And that's it. Simple, straightforward, and stress-free. So why wait? Start your application today and take the first step towards your dream home with Renewed Hope Housing. Please contact us for any inquiry or further assistance. Powered by Q Shelter Limited.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are now in the question and answer session. And before we go into that, I humbly request the Honourable Minister to step on, and the Honourable Minister of State to join him, and the Permanent Secretary. Honourable Minister, Minister of State and the Permanent Secretary.
Just shift it. Carry it out.
For the members of press, we have 8 press people that indicated interest to ask questions. We are going to take the first 4. Honourable Minister will respond, and will now take the second 4. The first in the list is the NTA, Francis Udojo of Nigerian Television Authority. Come and take your question. The next one is going to be the Sun newspaper. Get ready after NTA. The next is the Whistler. Then Daily Trust are the first one. Then we now take responses, then we now move to the second group. Bring your mic. Francis. Go ahead.
Members of the National Assembly present here, the Honourable Ministers, all protocol duly observed. My name is Francis Udojo Dangiwa from NTA. I know you'll be surprised to hear Dangiwa in my name. Who will not be proud of a father like this that has brought so much, quality and commitment to the housing sector? So, sir, we are very proud of you. All right, away from that now, we have seen a lot of things that you have done in this last, or within 1 year, and they are highly commendable. Now, whatever I'm going to say here is coming from the people, because we need to give you feedback. My question is this. A lot of persons will meet me on the road and they will say, Oga Housing, what did they happen now? Now saying that they give us affordable housing, and look at what we are seeing in the portal. So, Honourable Minister, please, may you do justice by answering this question kindly. We see 22 million, or 22 million for one-bedroom housing unit, and about 40-something million for a two-bedroom housing unit. People are asking, is this the affordable housing that the present administration is bringing to us? They need more explanation on this. And finally, I want to also ask, what measures is your organization, that is Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, putting in place to ensure quality materials are used in the building of these houses? Because over the years, housing collapse has been a serious issue in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister.
Next is the Sun newspaper.
Good morning, sir. My questions, I think on Monday, you inaugurated a committee on housing data. How regular do you think, do you intend to undertake this census, given the fact that the economy grows and the population grows? What is the update on ground rate for unoccupied houses? You promised that you're going to increase ground rate for houses that are not occupied yet. And these houses are still there. So what is your plan to make sure that these houses are occupied? I understand that some governors are reluctant to approve land for renewed housing estate. So what is your plan to make sure that every other Nigerian gets that benefit? So can you give us an insight into the bill on collapsed buildings? I understand you want to send a bill to the National Assembly. So can you give us an insight into it? Thank you.
Thank you. The Whistler. Whistler, yes. So, yeah. Daily Trust. Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, Honourable Minister. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Philip Clement. I write for Daily Trust. Honourable Minister, I noticed in your speech you said we needed about 5.5 trillion annually to, fix the housing deficit and gap. But what your ministry is proposing is about 500 billion budgetary allocation. Don't you think it's grossly inadequate? And what other alternative funding can you explore? That's number one. Then number two is just on Monday, I think you inaugurated a committee, to ensure that we have a housing data. So I'm just curious, how do you manage to plan your policies without even a housing data in place? Then the last question will be on affordable, or will I say, local sourcing of construction materials. The exchange rate has made it so expensive, and the developers are actually passing the burden on buyers. So how do we ensure that we have locally sourced building materials to crash down this price? Thank you.
Honourable Minister will now respond before we go to the second group session.
Thank you very much,
Gentlemen of the press, I would like to begin by thanking you for gracing this occasion. And I would like to answer the questions one after the other. The first one comes from my brother, Odoja Dengiwa from the NTA. You spoke about the Karsana housing project that we are embarking, that Mr. President did the groundbreaking. That project is a public-private partnership arrangement, PPP. It's not under the budgetary location of the federal government. We, as a ministry, we facilitated, we became the enablers and ensure that we assist the private entities to access funding from the government or from any other institutions that they have. For those private developers, they need the government backing in one way or the other. They bought their own land at exorbitant rate. They raise funding through the open market at nothing less than 20 to 30% interest rate. And it came at a time when the building materials cost is changing every day. The time that Mr. President did the groundbreaking, cement was 5,000. The time we signed the MOU was then cement was 5,000. When the Mr. President did the signing MOU, the cement has reached 8,000, and many other factors that brought it. And what they wanted is they want to recover the cost of their land. They want to recover the cost of fund. Also want to make a little profit to break even. So that what necessitated for the high cost of the houses in those kind of PPP arrangements. But later we now have to invite all the PPP stakeholders and tell them any PPP project we are going to do, there must be a cross-subsidized portion of the houses, whereby a minimum of 20% to 30% of the houses should be cross-subsidized. That means should be the ones, if you are at 40-50% in profit, you should bring it down to 10% for those minimum number of percentage. The remaining 70 to 80% you can now sell them at market rate. And secondly, what they complained to us was the source of funding. That's why we now have to now bring in Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and tell them to take a portion of those houses, like 1,000 units out of the 3,000. So the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria would fund them to build those houses to sell at cross-subsidized prices. I think currently they are approaching the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to the extent the FMBN will fund at least 1,000 of those houses that will be cross-subsidized for the population of Nigerians at 10% interest rate. FMBN give developers at 10% interest rates. And apart other ways to reduce the selling prices, we want to now rescope the specifications. Instead of putting granite on the floors, to use iron tiles or even no tiles. Instead of using POP on the ceiling, they are going to use asbestos or other type of. And then many other specifications, even the painting inside can have 1 coat of paint. This one is ordered to increase affordability of the off-takers at the time of off-take. If you enter the house, you can keep improving the house as time grows or as you have your own money. These are some of the things we have taken without compromising the quality of the houses itself, only the finishes. On the measures we are taking to ensure that we have quality jobs, the ministry in collaboration with this PPP, we have set up a powerful monitoring committee comprised of the Ministry of Professionals, the financiers who are funding those institutions, those buildings, because those who are financing the construction of those houses have a risk to protect, to ensure that they mitigate the risk so that these buildings have not collapsed. So they also have their own professionals doing that. And the FCT, as you quite well know, they are always on site, ensuring quality of work and materials on site. The next question on the projects we are doing, estates that we are doing across the country. We have very affordable prices, whereby 1 bedroom is going for 8 million naira. The 2 bedrooms in the states are going for 12 million, and the 3 bedroom are going 13 million. These are the housing estates by government, and we want to ensure that they're more affordable. Even this will subsidize the cost of infrastructure, because we're spending some money on the infrastructure, so infrastructure factored in the selling prices of these houses. The next question from Sun newspaper is that the Housing Data Committee we have inaugurated, he wants to know how often are we going to be reviewing that housing data, if you have known. You know that Population Commission, the regulations state that every country should do population census after every 10 years, because that is the time when the population has increased. Was it 5 or 10 years? I think it's 10 years. So ours will be after 5 years, that committee will have to review the housing data to ensure that we have a credible and reliable housing data for planning purposes of our country every 5 years. For the unoccupied houses that we have set up a committee that are working on it, we are finding the committee is still working, because most of those unoccupied estates, you find that to even identify the real owners is becoming a problem. You'll find the contractors, there will be some contractors working on those estates, they will start to claim that they are the owners. Maybe they are just fronting the owners. We wanted to establish the real owners, and then we count the number of houses, the type of houses, and ensure that this work on progress, and within a couple of months we'll update you on that. Thank you. On the issue of how every Nigerian should access houses, we have to know that there are other institutions charged with the responsibility of providing houses. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Development is charged with the responsibility of providing the policies of making houses affordable for Nigerians. The Federal Housing Authority is charged with the responsibility of providing all class of houses, the low, medium, and even the high income. The Federal Mortgage Board of Nigeria is charged with the responsibility of providing access to mortgage or home ownership to Nigerians through either mortgage or housing finance to the developers to build affordable houses. That's why we set up the Housing Institution Reform Task Team, which we have just received the final report of that. Within the report, I'm sure more revelations will come on how to increase housing finance to Nigerians. But these institutions, we know that like the Federal Housing Authority, we have given them, they are partially commercialized. So they have the right to go into either the capital market, raise funding, build houses. They also have the mandate to access cheap finance from the multilateral or bilateral institutions. They also have that leverage to ensure that they create even the social housing. So also the Federal Mortgage Board of Nigeria, instead of waiting for mortgage houses, they realize that most of the houses that are available are not affordable to Nigerians. That's why they went into housing construction finance to developers at 10% interest rate instead of the 20 to 30% that we get from the commercial mortgages. So Federal Mortgage Board of Nigeria, apart from financing construction through cooperative societies, they are also giving individual construction loans to Nigerians who have unencumbered land. Once you have a CFO, you can make your own designs. A first Federal Mortgage Board in all the states of the Federation where they have branches, they will give you a loan to build your own houses incrementally at your own pace. This is at a 6% interest rate and payable over 30 years. This is one product. And if you have any house you want to buy that is not that you want to buy a completed house, Federal Mortgage Board of Nigeria is given the mandate to buy that house on your behalf, create mortgage between yourselves, and then pay over a period of up to 30 years at just 6% instead of going to commercial at 25 to 30%. The Federal Mortgage Board are given other products, and we have asked the Federal Mortgage Board of Nigeria to intensify sensitization of Nigerians to all their products and services for the benefit of Nigerians, because most of the products and services are not well known to Nigerians. On the bill for the collapse of building collapse, I doubt if we have reached that level. We have just set up a committee on building collapse. They are coming up with a report on how to do that. What we realized is that most of this building collapse, there happens under the jurisdictions of the state government. Building collapse 1 or 2, you find that it's under the jurisdiction of the state governments. So as a federal government, we have limited capacity to go and then fish out those offenders or those defaulters and then prosecute them. So that bill will more likely address that issue. But what the committee were charged with the responsibility to, whenever there's a building collapse, we have the responsibility to go into that state, then make a deep research through a checklist to find how the houses designed. Apart from that, they are designed by professionals in the built environment, and who are the contractors to that? Are they certified contractors, or they are just roadside contractors? To also ensure that the approving authority that approve the designs, do they have the capacity to even approve designs? Are they professionals? Do they have the registered requirements to do that? And whether the building has been approved or not, and why the institutions in that state or just jurisdiction allow them to construct without building approval. Not only that, we want to ensure that at the time of construction, the supervisors of the contractors are looked into. Is it the fault of the owner that he didn't employ qualified people to supervise, or he has employed qualified people but he denied them quality materials to use? Because sometimes the owners of the houses will get a qualified engineer to supervise his own building, but he will go for substandard materials that can only bring building collapse. Sometimes even on the finished buildings, we realize that on the completed houses, so houses are designed for a particular purpose, but they are later converted to a particular purpose. Like if this hall is on the first floor or second floor, it was meant just for a hall for a meeting, to come and meet and go, but later it was converted into a dancing hall, whereby that the impact of that activity will have impact on the structure, and that will cause collapse on the completed buildings. So these are the things we have asked that committee to identify and then come up with it. Then we will now take it to the National Assembly where we need any legislation. Whenever we find our own results, we'll now write to that state. We have investigated, we have visited the site that had a building collapse, made our investigation. We have found ABC are at fault. Please, the Honourable, Your Excellency, the Governor, you need to prosecute these persons for the benefit of the country and the benefit of your citizens. So that even if they are not ready to do any deep investigation, we have done that investigation and we have made it public to the Nigerians to know. The next question on the daily trust by Mr. Philip, that of the 5.5 trillion, we say the Nigerian population is 2.2% increment. It's 2.4% population. At 2.5% increment annually, you'll find that you have nothing like 55 million Nigerians. 5.5 million Nigerians are that. At 10% per household, you'll have nothing less than 550,000 houses we need annually. But we say that we needed 500 billion. This is for a start. Currently, we are not giving we are just giving a fraction of this. Now we are collaborating with the National Assembly. Happily, they are all here, where we are now making a case to increase it to 500 billion for a start. And then the rest, we are now sourcing the public-private partnerships. This is apart from the other states' interventions where you are having. You know that every state has its own housing policy, which they are doing. This 5.5 trillion include the budgetary allocations, the public-private partnership, and even the state's budgetary allocation in the 36 states and FCT ministry, which they are doing. The rest is under the PPP. The next thing is you ask about the committee we have set up that have no data. Why should we set up a committee while we don't have a data? I think we are setting up the committee on the national housing data to assist us even to establish what is the deficit are we having. They have set up a framework, and all the agencies I stated in my speech are very relevant. National Population Commission, they are tasked with the responsibility of doing the national housing and national population and housing census annual, after every 5 to 10 years. So this one, the National Bureau of Statistics and all other housing institutions, agencies are also part of it. They are meant to determine what is the real data that we are having. And on the fact that the last question you asked on the skyrocketing of the high cost of building materials annually due to exchange rates and other things. In order to curb that, that's why we have set up the building material manufacturing hubs. And currently we have gotten 2 investors who are ready to come and establish the building materials manufacturing hubs in the country. We are working with them. From there we proceed to ICRC for the framework of the partnership, and then the solution to establishment of the building material manufacturing hubs, one in each geographical zone of the country, will come to fruition. The essence of this building material manufacturing hub is to ensure that we establish a hub where all building materials are manufactured locally. That will reduce the foreign exchange, it will create jobs for our country, and also reduce the cost of building materials for our country. That will also reduce that. These are some of the measures we are taking to ensure that we reduce the cost of housing in the country. Thank you very much.
We now take the second and final round of the questions in this order. Channels Television, Nation, get ready, Vanguard, and Punch.
Thank you. I pray you will stand already established protocols. Congratulations on your 1 year in office, Minister. As of February this year, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria did disclose that they discovered about 46 housing scheme projects that have been abandoned. Now we know the housing gap is pretty large, and it's going to take more than the federal and state government and PPP to address the housing deficit in Nigeria. Now this abandoned project, 46 of them, sir, I just want to ask in specific terms and figures, what has been done about them? The abandoned projects, housing projects, what has been done about them in specific terms? And also, how effective is your collaboration with state governments in preventing housing policy duplicity and also conflict? Knowing that at the end of the day, you will need to work with state governments in achieving your housing goal for Nigeria. And lastly, the launch of the National Housing Portal, which aims to improve transparency and accessibility in the sector. How much of subscription have we gotten on that, in that portal? And how effective has it been so far in making sure those who this housing should get to are actually the people subscribing on the portal, and then they will eventually get this housing? Thank you very much.
Nation.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. I'd like to stand on existing protocol. My name is Joshua Obu. I report for the Nation newspaper. Your Excellency, I'd like to congratulate you 1 year in office, and I'd say that so much has been achieved. Watching the documentary and listening to you, honestly, I would like to say that you have overperformed for just 1 year in office. But of course, as they say, nothing good comes easy. So we'd like to know, I'm sure that Nigerians would like to know, are there challenges encountered in the course of providing affordable houses for Nigerians? Second question, are you getting needed cooperation and support from state governors? And lastly, what should Nigerians expect from the ministry in the coming year? Thank you very much.
Vanguard.
Your Excellency, Honourable Minister, My name is Charles from Vanguard Media. You did said that there will be an MOU with the Shelter Africa Development Bank, in which you will be, 500 units of housing and financing will be done. How do you expect to do this? Are you going to engage the private sector? And one more question is, what date for completion of the projects of the Renewed Hope Estates and Cities can we bear in mind from this day? Thank you for the laudable achievement for just this 1 year. Thank you.
Punch for the last question. Are you not here again? Okay. Honourable Minister, you wish to respond.
Thank you very much. I think the first speaker was asking about the 26 abandoned housing units, housing estates by the Federal Mortgage of Nigeria. Over time, I was one time the MD CEO of the Federal Mortgage of Nigeria. Even at the time I came, I met a lot of more than this abandoned projects that were there at the Federal Mortgage Bank, that are abandoned estates. But being there at that time, we were able to reduce them to barest minimum when we came on board. FMHUD are not even supposed to be providing construction houses, but I said earlier, the essence is that for them to provide affordable housing for Nigerians, there has to be affordable housing finance to be built. And the only place you can get affordable finance is through the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. We made a lot of effort at that time to micromanage many of these projects. We realized that those abandoned projects sometimes were the fault of the developers, sometimes were the fault of the bank itself. When I came on board, I found that in the bank, they are funding construction, housing construction, but there are no professionals in the built environment to supervise the construction of these houses. If a developer has reached a milestone, they will send an accountant or a business administration or even humanities to go and bring a report. They will go and just go around the site, whatever they connive with the developer, ignorantly, he will come and give a report and the bank will keep disbursing to that developers. We realized that when I came, I couldn't even arrest or I couldn't punish anybody. I found the person who has been sent, he doesn't have any qualifications to even go and supervise and make valuation of building. So within that time, I was able to engage the services, employ over 63 professionals in the built environment, and ensure that all the units, heads under the project finance are professional in the built environment. Since that time, we ensure that we have a proper supervision, proper monitoring, and proper valuation of these projects. Because there was a time I met a project, 80% has been disbursed for a project, only 20% has been achieved. So at that time, we have to employ the services of that. We help the bank to ensure that that is done. And I'm sure when I left, the manager of the bank continued with that aspect. So these are projects that are legacy projects that are being micromanaged. Sometimes you find that some of these projects are overtaken by the inflation, variation, and other things. So even last week when we met with the management of both the two agencies, FHA and FMBN, we told them that there will come a time if they don't complete those abandoned projects, we will give a directive not to approve any new projects for that. They should go back, ensure that they complete those projects that are lying and uncompleted in order for Nigerians to benefit. We also advise them these are low-hanging fruits. Invite the developers, review the contract. If it means rescoping the project, you rescope it and ensure that you can reduce some of the specifications in order to achieve the affordability without increasing the cost of the selling prices of these houses by reducing the scoping of the project. So this is what the two agencies are doing, and I'm sure they are listening to you here. I think they are all around here. Collaboration with the state governors. As the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, we are in close collaboration with both the state governors and commissioners of housing and urban development nationwide. Annually, we have a retreat by this coming October or November, we are going to have a National Council on Housing and Urban Development in Gombe. That is, we did one last year in Kaduna, where all the commissioners were invited to ensure that we rub heads together, we ensure that we sensitize them and guide them, because we set the policies for housing and urban development nationwide. At that time, we even invited the Shelter Africa Development Bank. They made a presentation on how to access affordable housing finance to from Shelter Africa Development Bank. We invited many stakeholders who came and showcased their own achievements. We also collaborate with them on the land reforms, on all other reforms that the federal government is going about for them to downscale it to their own various state governments to ensure that that is done. On the National Council of Housing coming up in October in Gombe, we used to invite the entire journalists to be there. You will find that at that council we are going to review these policies. We are going to ensure that we review what happened last year to upscale it further. On the National Housing Portal, it's a great success to us when we started it. We just requested from the consultants who developed that portal to give us an update of what we have achieved so far on that National Housing Portal, currently on it. They just submitted the report last week, and we found that we have out of subscription of the portal, out of 47,000 who express, we have over 47,000 who express interest on houses. And 1,000 have committed. What means committed? They have started even making deposit for these houses. We have over 66,000 more subscribers just after the presidential broadcast. And the consultant went ahead even to analyze the portal to know from which part of the country subscription comes high. We found that surprisingly, Kano has the highest subscription, followed by Sokoto, followed by Lagos, followed by in that order. And we have, up to the last state we have in the country, we have found out who are the categories of people. Are they government workers? Are they informal sector or formal sector? We have that category. I have the document after this press briefing. I would like to share it with you. We have even identified from which part of the country Nigerians, we have Canadians, we have from Europe, from America, from many countries are subscribing into that. That is the basic data which we have gathered. It has given us an overview of what type of houses do we require in so part of the region of the country. Even the houses where we didn't have the renewed hope estates, they have started even subscribing to those units. So it's a success story, and I show you, I have a copy in my car, and I would like to share it with you. I wanted just to come out with it. On the Nation newspapers question, we thank you for that grading that we have performed. We thank you very much for that. And the challenges are very many. As you quite well know that housing is a human right. Nigerians have a right to have shelter over their heads. And the challenges are huge. Apart from financing, we have affordability because of low income earning of Nigerians. Before the federal government increased the wages, so we have to thank the federal government for increasing the wages of Nigerians. Before then, you will find that Nigerians have a range between have an affordability between just 6 million to maximum of 7 to 8 million. That is just the affordability of range of any civil servant in the country. Because 1/3 of your salary, you can do that yourself, down the number of years, number of months for you to retire, you'll find that is within that range. So you must build houses within that range in order for Nigerians to have affordable houses. So our basic challenge is that affordability and the issue of the wage finance, the finance and the cost of living, take-home pay of Nigerians. Luckily now we have up to 70,000 as the minimum wage by the federal government, and other initiatives that we are having. Then on the state government's collaboration, I would like to confirm that we are having a lot of synergy and collaboration with the state governments. When we want to start this renewed hope cities and estates, we wrote letters to all the 36 state governors to give us unencumbered land, free of charge, without we paying even the cost of issuing the CFO. And we have a very good responses. At the first instance, we received over 12 states that have responded. That's why we started this one, cut across all the 6 geopolitical zones. Now, currently, we have over 30 states that have responded to that, and more are coming every day to give us unencumbered land of 50 hectares, 25 to 50 hectares of land for us to do that. FHA are also doing that collaboration. I learned that they are getting a lot of land from that. And the fact that the state governors are doing their own project, they are also supporting the federal government housing initiatives. Our expectations to Nigerians is to ensure that we are doing our part in collaboration with the National Assembly to ensure that we increase access to housing for all Nigerians. On the Vanguard newspaper's question, the MOU we are signing with the Sharp DB, which we are fine-tuning it, is for the construction of at least financing 5,000 housing units. It's not to the ministry, it's either to the agencies of the ministries like FHA, or even to the private developers who wants to access this, because Nigeria has second largest shareholder in the Sharp DB, but surprisingly we have not benefited much from our own subscription. Out of the 30 million subscription, we have paid over 23 million subscription, $1 million. Remain only 7 million. Only last month, Mr. President, the Minister of Finance
All right, thank you very much. Once again, I'll ask us to specially appreciate the Honourable Minister and the Honourable Minister of State, supported by the Permanent Secretary, for that wonderful presentation. Please put your hands together for them.
The Minister of State, Kamsat, will come to the stage, and they will now make a presentation to them.
Okay. So once more, after that little break, we will invite the Honourable Minister himself, please to come to the stage with the Honourable Minister of State and the Permanent Secretary. Let's have them in front here. This time they are standing. Please put your hands together for them. It is their day. So may I invite the chair of the Multi-Agency Delivery Tax Team, retired General Architect Tunde Rees, who's represented by Architect Chioma Nwogo Ogbonna, to approach. All right, I've been told also that Architect Nuwea, Building Materials Manufacturing Tax Team, represented by Architect Moradeke Okurimboye, is also coming up. Please put your hands together. The leader of this team is one who has many, many years in his shoulders. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree with me that we have variously described him as a development finance economist, a seasoned banker, regulator at CBN, a celebrated mortgage banker, and one who was worked both as a banking regulator and a supervisor of banking institutions at DDG at Desemoye for the Federal Housing Institutions Reform Tax Team. He will speak on behalf of the team and then present the report. That handshake is important. Sir, can you repeat it for the cameramen, please? That handshake, it's very good. The photographers want to capture it well. So I think we should present the report before you make your speech. Sir, touch the report so we know it's yours.
Okay. Yeah, please come closer. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. First of all, we want to appreciate the President for this great vision that he has for Nigeria. From day one, he has started a great work identifying where the challenges Nigeria is. Also appointing the minister to drive this particular new ministry as a professional is a big plus for the president. And the minister haven't established the 4 committees. We have been at work, I will say 9 months, because it's like, I tell people, I said this is a call to service. Some of us, people like me, I finished youth service 40 years ago, so it's like recalling me to come and serve again. And we've been on this job for 9 months. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve our country once again. Here is the report that we are presenting to the Honourable Minister for the Federal Housing Institutional Reform Task Team, and my colleagues are also appointed on their behalf. Other 3 chairmen appointed me on their behalf to represent. However, we have the members of the other tax teams that are here. Madam has been here, the architect. She's representing her.
I'm representing the Building Materials Manufacturing Task Team. I'm representing the Multi-Agency Delivery Tax Team on behalf of retired General Tunde Rees. Thank you.
I've also combined that with the Land Reform Tax Team. I used to be part of that Presidential Technical Committee when I was in the service. So I'm also representing the chairman, Reverend Shime Ogochukwu, who is unavoidably absent here. Our reports are ready to support the minister in the new year, because he has spent 1 year now. Most important, he has continued to use some of the interim report we have submitted, but without budget. So we are going to support him in the next 1 month, because this is a budgeting period. We do not want to have recommendation, policy recommendation, without budget, without a program, without plans. So we have here full policy recommendations that cut across, that require budget. Thank the minister for mentioning that at least we need 500 billion annually. This is our that of as well as the local government now that have autonomy. They are all run on a concurrent list for housing, because housing is an important part of human endeavor. Thank you, the National Assembly people that are here. This report here, we have the laws of institutions that are going to be reworked. Some of these laws are very old, some 1973, others 1989, 1993. We have made proposals here of where the challenges are in order to make this institution to be effective and efficient and be world-class institution to deliver on the mandate of Mr. President. So we will need your support. We will need legal drafters that will translate some of the reports here, some of the recommendations here, right from the legal framework that will affect the organizational structure as well as the operational performance of the institution. So I'm happy that you are here today, and the enjoyment of the collaboration that you have been giving to our minister for these years. We will see more in the next 36 months that the administration still have, so that we transform the country. And in the next 365 days, we have things that needs to be done on a short term. We have things that is for immediate, short term, medium term, and long term. That is all embedded in our report. We'll be looking forward for greater collaboration, so that when we come here next year, you will also be there to share part of the success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll now allow the Honourable Minister to...
The Chairman, the task team, Mr. Adedeji Adesemoye, and the other chairmen of this committee that we have set up for the reform of the housing institutions of the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development. And I wish, on behalf of myself, my Minister of State, and the Permanent Secretary and the Ministry, wish to thank you for this wonderful performance. And we thank you for finishing this project within time despite some challenges. We know during the course of your assignment, we faced some challenges in terms of logistics that the ministry couldn't meet up due to some budgetary bottlenecks that we had at that time before the release of funds. But you are able to scale through and then do that with passion. I know that Mr. Adedeji Adesemoye has been a housing expert. He worked with CBN under the National Housing Program for finance of the Central Bank of Nigeria. He retired as a director in that CBN organization. The second chairman, who is the Brigadier General Rees, is also a housing finance expert. He was once the chairman of the FHA, Federal Housing Authority, and he has been a housing advocate and a developer all through his life, after even within the military time when he was in the military. We also thank the Building Material Manufacturing House Task Team Chairman, Architect Nuhuwe, who has been an industrialist, who has some industries established in Kaduna State. If you know Chibi, manufacturers who manufacture this ceramic tiles and some of these granites. He has been an expert in building material manufacturing, and he has taken this job with passion. The land reform task team, headed by Mr. Reverend Ugo Chukwuchime, who is an estate surveyor and valuer, has been in the industry. He was once the warden, who is the Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria president. He has taken this job passionately. The time we are going to US for a conference on land, he sponsored himself even to follow us to the Washington DC, to witness that conference that will add value even to his own assignment. We just saw him at the conference without even inviting him. He said it's relevant to his own assignment which the Mr. President gave him through the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. So this chairman, they need a lot of commendation by all the stakeholders, and I want everybody to give them a round of applause for this wonderful performance, and all the team members that participated in this task team. The ministry are going to set up a review committee to look at all their own review within quickly, and I'm happy that it's coming before the budgetary preparation, so that we can tap some of the low-hanging fruit or some of the short-term policies that we can start escalating to the National Assembly in terms of legislation and even in terms of funding. So I wish to thank you for this wonderful job you have done to the country. And on behalf of Mr. President, I wish to thank you for this job. Thank you very much. May God bless the country.
Thank you very much. We'll now take the official photograph of the committee with the minister. Photographers, let's do this quickly. The ladies, I think we should have you sandwich, sorry. It's good to smile. It means we are doing a good job. Thank you very much. I want us to notice something. If you notice, the permanent secretary of the ministry held the report personally. That is to show that work is ready to commence. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. I've been told that everywhere he is permanent secretary, any report by any committee immediately is given attention. Please, photographers, can you document that tete-a-tete between the executive and the legislature? It means they are also ready to work with it. We'll give them a photocopy soon. Thank you very much, the National Assembly. We hope to send you a report, a copy of that report as soon as possible so that you can be on the same page with us. Please put your hands together for them. Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll now set up for the signing of the letter of intent for housing development collaboration between Shelter Afrique and the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. This is a very key component of our progress. This will also provide a very basic format for us moving forward. I notice also that the chairman, who spoke on behalf of the committees, took his time to read from his heart key important issues that are necessary for this. May I therefore invite to join us up here in front the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Shelter Afrique Development Bank, Mr. Teno Habib Han. Please put your hands together for him. He's been prepared. He didn't want anybody to represent him. He came here to sign his signature personally. Please clap for him. May I also invite our host, the Honourable Minister, and the Honourable Minister of State to join us. The Honourable Minister will be in the middle, flanked by the Minister of State. He has been given an exalted position of protection. 2 ministers by your side, you can take over the world. Please, gentlemen, you may take your seats. This, of course, is going to be a major decision, the letter of intent for housing development collaboration between Shelter Afrique and the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. We're getting set for this. I remembered once I had gone to a bank to look for loan. When I told them the amount I was looking for, the young man looked at me and said, "Young man, money does not buy happiness. I say, yes, who told you that the money I'm looking for is happiness I want to buy? I want to buy a house in my village. Is he talking? It's just signing. Just hold the paper and take a picture. Gentlemen of the press, these documentations are important. We will witness the handshake. The permanent secretary, you may need to move closer. This picture is a typical example of the picture that it says, tell 1,000 stories. Photographers have pleaded with you not to block the members of the House of Assembly. They need to see what is being done. Thank you. Later. This vote of thanks. Okay. 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 Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, just before we take the final things on the program, this is to remind gentlemen of the press that we will have time for interviews after this when we take the vote of thanks and we take the national anthem. Just outside, we have a podium set for interviews. It's your day. I'm sure you'll have, you'll want to use maximum time to get all the information that you seek. Once again, we want to thank the tax teams. Please, can we put our hands together for them? Thank you for doing a very thorough job at this. I noticed when the chairman who spoke on behalf of the tax team was speaking, he didn't read any of his papers. He spoke from his heart, and he took this aspect that relates to the National Assembly so they can begin to prepare for what is coming. But I was at the Azamsi commissioning of a bridge somewhere. The minister who was doing that thing about 20 years ago had not read his speech beforehand, and his PA printed only one copy of the speech, and we were all standing on the bridge in between collecting the paper from his PA's hand and reading it. There was this bad wind that came and took the paper from the PA's hand, and the thing went into the river. And remember, the minister had not read his speech beforehand. So he just looked at us, looked at his PA, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, with my speech in the river, I hereby commission the bridge." Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, before the vote of thanks by the Honourable Minister of State, the Advocate Good Governance Group are going to make a presentation to the Honourable Minister on the first year anniversary. Advocate Good Governance Group. Your presentation, please. This is a presentation to the Honourable Minister on the first year anniversary by this group, Advocating Good Governance in Nigeria. Chairman.
I bring you greetings from the Advocate of Good Governance, Renewed Hope. Your Excellency, the Honourable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, AAIA, and Your Excellency, the Minister of State, Dr. Abdullahi Tijani Gwazo, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I would like to express my profound gratitude to Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the First Lady, wife of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for her mentorship and continuous support for our work. It is my great pleasure to present to you on behalf of our Grand Patron, Professor Mrs. Olufolake Abdurazak, the wife of Kwara State Governor and the chairperson of the Nigeria Governor Wives Forum, myself and everyone at Advocate for Good Governance, Renewed Hope Agenda. Those portraits commiserate the significant milestone and accomplishment of the ministry under your leadership. This portrait represents the tireless efforts and dedication of your team in addressing the housing needs of Nigeria and the progress made towards achieving the country housing goals. I would like to express my deepest appreciation for your commitment to providing affordable and quality housing for all Nigerians. Your ministry initiative has positively impacted countless lives, and this portrait serves as a testament to your hard work and vision. Gradually, Nigerians are growing in confidence and hope as they see the end to the housing challenges in close sight through the housing initiative in this administration. Please accept this portrait as a symbol of our appreciation and recognition of your achievements. Thank you for your service to the nation, and I wish you continuous success in your endeavor. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless the President of the Federal Republic. Congratulations on your 1 year in office. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. We will receive this beautiful portrait on behalf of those who advocate for good governance. This is a testament and a support to show that in the ministry there's truly good governance. Can we remove this paper? It's outlived its usefulness. Thank you very much. You have been appreciated. Okay, you want to decorate the minister further? This is to say congratulations. Thank you very much. You may take your seats, please. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the next item is also very crucial, as it's also going to be taken by one who we have described as a party man, politician, religious leader, philanthropist, grassroots developer, but most of all, a worthy team player. He was at one time described, or probably had served as executive chairman of a local government. He was also state Algon chairman, special advisor to executive governor, and also overseeing the Ministry of Water Resources in a state where he helped to establish the 75,000 litre per day water supply system, giving a special title that we all celebrate. He's also the founder of the Gwazo Foundation for Support for Less Privileged, and also a member of the Nolge, who gave him a special reward as a merit award for the great work he did locally. As a party man, his affiliations include a pioneer chairman or interim chairman of the All Progressive Congress in Kano and state founding member and BOT member of the party. At one time, because also of his religious precepts, he was also told to lead the pilgrim community to Hajj that year. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to invite for the vote of thanks a distinguished Nigerian, a public servant with a career spanning over 3 decades without blemish. His roles include being a very successful farmer, a textile engineer, a politician, and Minister of State for Housing and Urban Development, Engineer Dr. Abdullahi Tijani Mohammed. Please put your hands together for him. Let me not remove the fact that one time he was a very successful deputy governor in Kano State. Please put your hands together for him.
Chairman, House Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honourable Dr. Abdulmumini Jibrin Kofa, the Chairman, House Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Honourable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank, Managing Director of Chief Executive of the Federal Housing Authority, Managing Director of Shelter Africa, Directors of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, representatives of the regulatory body here present, Chairman of the Housing Sector Reforms Tax Teams Committees, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I stand here before you to present my address, but before then, I would like to ask the MC, I'm interested in that your answer to the question you made mention about our brothers who are able to purchase high-rise building, the ground floor and the first floor. To me, I consider our brothers from the National Assembly, the most senior and the junior ones. So what will be the answer? Who has the ground floor and second floor? And how are they going to solve these problems? So I don't know. Maybe the senior person will leave the building, the complete building, to the junior. I don't know. Maybe when you come, you answer this question. Secondly, I would like to show our appreciation and gratitude to His Excellency the President for demerging this ministry. Before it was Ministry for Works and Housing. We are now on our own Ministry for Housing and Urban Development. This is a success story. We have performed and we are still performing under our able leadership of the Honourable Minister, who is a professional in this field for Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Ningiwa. I say kudos to your performance. And we are a very good hand under the able leadership of our representative from the National Assembly, the honorable member representing our constituency, Bebe Jikiru in Kano. He knows the job honestly because he was in this ministry or Federal Housing Authority before, and he is into so many things. He has a lot of experience. And his second, the junior brother, who is from River State. So we are most welcome. We appreciate your coming, and we appreciate your performance. The permanent secretary too is doing well. We are enjoying your good job, and by the grace of God, we are going to overperform. Before the second year, we'll be able to show more about our performance. And I'm learning from my colleague, my brother, Architect Ahmed Musa Danjo, who's a professional. Maybe I will graduate next year when we come for the second year anniversary. But I'm still in school and learning. So let me go quickly through this, my speech. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we draw to a close on this important occasion, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you who has taken the time to be part of this briefing. Your presence here today signifies the collective commitment we all share towards transforming the housing and urban development sector in our great nation. Over the past year, we have made significant strides, and this will not have been possible without the unwavering cooperation and synergy among all our stakeholders, federal and state governments, the legislature, private sector, partners, international organizations, civil society groups, and indeed the Nigerian people. Together we have laid a strong foundation, but our journey is far from over. We stand at a critical juncture where our collective effort must intensify to bring the vision of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu into the full realization. The renewed hope agenda for the housing sector is not just a government initiative. It is a national mission that requires the dedication and the collaboration of all. I call on every stakeholder, every partner, and every citizen to commit themselves to this cause. Let us work with even greater vigor, determination, and unity to ensure that every Nigerian has access to affordable, safe, and dignified housing. Once again, I thank you all for your dedication, and I look forward to our continued partnership as we build a better, stronger, and most prosperous Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As we draw this first anniversary celebration of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development to an end, we thank the National Assembly and the press. Your steadfast support and insightful coverage have not illuminated our progress but made the world to see us well. After now, there will be refreshments served, but first, let's honor Nigeria by closing with the national anthem.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our only native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland.
take a group photograph for those in front. Please, photographers just assemble us so that we do that quickly for those in front before we leave. May I also invite MDs of our parastatals to join us?
I'm about to introduce. Nobody asked, but I'm talking about one person. Sad. About to make the goodie back. Right.
Our tax teams will also join. I saw the MD of the Federal Mortgage Bank. That's where I put my money now. For safety, bank with the Federal Mortgage Bank. Thank you very much. Remember, refreshment is served. Thank you very much for being a part. Gentlemen of the press, we appreciate you one more time. And remember that the ministry is always open for your questions, for your comments. Thank you very much for always being a part of what we do. Thank you. And to our technical crew, particularly those in charge of live streaming, thank you very much for doing a good job. Thank you. May I also specially appreciate the leader of the Redan team, the immediate past president of Redan, Dr. Alhaji Aliu Oroji Wamako. You're welcome. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for leading the Redan team here. Thank you.